There are moments in life you wish you could forget, faces you'd rather not remember, places you never want to revisit. But what if those memories refuse to stay buried? What if they came back, uninvited? My name is Lila Harper, and I live in a small weathered house on the edge of a lake in upstate New York. My dog, Milo, a scruffy beagle with soulful eyes, has been my constant companion for years. He's the kind of dog who seems to know when I'm upset, curling up beside me without needing to be asked. Valentine's Day has always been bittersweet for me. It reminds me of Nathan, my high school sweetheart, the boy I thought I'd spend my life with. We were inseparable once, but things ended badly. After graduation, he left town without a word, and I haven't heard from him since. Over time, I convinced myself I was better off without him. But some wounds don't heal as easily as we'd like. It started on a quiet February afternoon, just a few days before Valentine's Day. I was cleaning out the attic, a task I'd been avoiding for years. Dust clung to everything, and the air smelled stale. Milo followed me up, sniffing curiously at boxes stacked haphazardly along the walls. As I sifted through the clutter, I found an old shoebox tucked away in the corner. Inside were photographs, snapshots of Nathan and me from happier times. There we were, laughing at the lake, posing awkwardly in front of the Christmas tree, holding hands under the bleachers at a football game. Each picture felt like a punch to the gut, reopening wounds I thought had scarred over. One photo stood out, a Polaroid I didn't remember taking. In it, Nathan and I stood side by side, smiling as usual. But behind us, barely visible in the background, was a figure, a woman, her face blurred and indistinct, staring directly at the camera. "Who's that?" I muttered aloud, holding the photo closer to the light. Milo whimpered softly, backing away from the box. I shook it off, telling myself it was probably just someone walking by. But the longer I stared at the figure, the more unsettling it became. Her presence felt wrong, like she didn't belong in the frame or in this world. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, the woman in the photograph. Her face remained blurry, but her eyes seemed to bore into me, accusing, demanding something I couldn't understand. When I finally drifted off, I dreamed of Nathan. He was standing by the lake, calling my name. But when I reached him, his expression turned cold. "You shouldn't have kept it," he said, his voice hollow. "She's looking for you." I woke with a start, drenched in sweat. Milo was pacing anxiously at the foot of the bed, his ears perked up. Outside, the wind howled, rattling the windows. "What's wrong, boy?" I whispered, reaching for him. But he wouldn't settle, his gaze fixed on the hallway. Then I heard it, a faint tapping sound coming from downstairs. At first, I thought it was a branch hitting the window, but the rhythm was deliberate, almost like knocking. Grabbing the flashlight from my bedside table, I crept downstairs, Milo trailing nervously behind me. The tapping grew louder as I approached the living room. When I flipped on the light, my breath caught in my throat. On the coffee table sat the shoebox and the photograph. Only now, the woman in the background was clearer. Her face was pale, her lips curled into a sinister smile, and her eyes, they seemed to follow me wherever I moved. "Who are you?" I whispered, clutching the flashlight tightly. Milo growled low in his throat, his body rigid. Before I could react, the lights flickered, plunging the room into darkness. A chill swept through the house, raising goosebumps on my arms. Then came the whispers, soft, overlapping voices that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "You shouldn't have forgotten," he promised. "Now you pay," panic surged through me. I grabbed Milo's leash and bolted for the door, but it wouldn't budge. The handle twisted uselessly in my hand, as if frozen in place. And then I saw her, the woman from the photograph. She stood in the doorway, her form flickering like static on an old TV screen. Her smile widened, revealing rows of jagged teeth. "Run," she hissed, her voice echoing unnaturally. I didn't need to be told twice. I yanked open the window and crawled outside, Milo scrambling after me. We ran blindly into the night, the storm raging around us. By morning, the storm had passed, leaving the world eerily still. I returned to the house cautiously, half expecting to find it destroyed or abandoned, but everything was exactly as I'd left it, except for the photograph. It was gone. For weeks afterward, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Milo refused to go near the attic, and every time I looked at my reflection, I swore I saw her standing behind me, her smile growing wider each time. I still don't know who she is, or why she's connected to Nathan. All I know is that I can't escape her. Not yet. Sometimes, late at night, I hear the tapping again, and when I turn around, the photograph is waiting for me, on the table, on the counter, even tucked under my pillow. No matter how many times I destroy it, it always comes back, just like her.